I told an AI to fix the style drift across my site. It didn't guess, and it didn't just declare victory. It started the local app. It looked at the live pages, it fixed them, then it looked again. Now when I have DevNitro do work like this, I'll just tell it, use the C fix C method. The problem was different styles across my services company site. It's Global Cove Technologies. The site grew one page at a time, and this was before I used DevNitro. There was not consistency between how the pages were built. And then recently, when I had DevNitro create some new pages and update some existing ones, the inconsistencies became even more apparent. There was no pattern for it to follow, and the site was drifting. The backend code was consistent, but the style itself was not. Now, I could have asked Claude or Codex to handle this impromptu task, but instead I handed the task to DevNitro. I didn't record it live, unfortunately, but it is a short enough change that demos the visual tools nicely that I'm going to work through the conversation that fixed the site on Thursday. So I had this conversation on Thursday, and I just started saying, hey, looking at these pages, I see a few things off. The workshop pages, the Intelligent Engineering Workshop eyebrow doesn't match the style of the home and the sprint pages. The custom software and about pages, as well as the contact heroes, aren't consistent with the home and the sprints in the workshop. And just said, hey, the pages were built at different times, and it shows the content of the pages don't need to be the same, and it's fine to have variety. But switching pages and the hero section being different just feels jarring. The workshop buttons on large screens are above and below and side to side like sprint. And it may need more spacing. In general, do some visual looking at the pages after doing an app start and see how this can be improved. And so this was using Claude Opus 4.8 on Thursday with extra high. It says, fine, I'll start by exploring the project structure, define the pages, and do the visual review. So it did a list of the Global Cove web client, because assumed that's where the pages were, and it was right. So then it found the workshop page, found the about page, right, the contact page, services page, consulting page, and then try to find just all the different Razor files. Okay, great. Said, let me read the hero sections. And of course, this did the typical stuff. Read the home, read consulting, right? So again, we can actually see all the stuff that read here if we care about it. And the workshop. And he said, now let me read the CSS. And so it looked at the scoped CSS for the pages, you know, home Razor CSS, consulting Razor CSS, workshop Razor CSS, right? So it looked at those. Said, okay, now let me look at the about and contact services. You know, just, I'm not gonna go through all this in super detail, just telling you kind of the process it did, kind of the typical things, you know, nothing new or shocking here. So it's great. I have a clear picture of the inconsistencies. Now let me verify visually before making changes. This is the first part, the C. So he's going to C. So let me start the app and screenshot. So before actually starting the app, I just did a visual verify. I was like, hey, there's no, you know, no app launcher found. You need to actually call the need the app start. So it did. So I started the app, and it started on its typical port, which in this case is 7739. So that's a, hey, it's a project app, and it did a visual navigate to the workshop page. So as I say, we got there, came back stats 200, perfect, and then took a screenshot. And so here we actually see the screenshot that it took of, you know, what the workshop page looked like at that time. So I can dig into this, and this is basically what the workshop page looked like. And we can kind of see this italic green, the engineering workshop. And then you see the buttons here are ones over on top of the other. Okay, versus my other pages, they were side by side, and it really wasn't a width thing. For this large view, it should totally be able to you know, fix that. And so I said, hey, great, confirmed the italic non-uppercase eyebrow stacked and stacked buttons. So then went to the sprint page and took a screenshot of the before on the sprint page. And we can see on this guy how this is nice and just capitalized. There's no italics, right? So, and we see the buttons side by side. So that's kind of what I was trying to get to do. Versus back over here, you can see it's not a capitalized and it's italics, and then the buttons are on top of each other. All right. So it did the first C to see the issue. It says both confirm sprints reference, uppercase letter spacing, eyebrow, button side by side. Let me make the fixes. Great. And so just modified the CSS that was needed. Simple changes. Right, so some simple changes there, nothing major. Said now I'm going to soften the two most absolute phrasing, because this is, I asked them, hey, let's take a look at some of that, so it's fine. We won't dig into that, because again, the copy changed entirely. But, you know, instead of, you know, promising things maybe you shouldn't be promising, so they did nothing to change. This is what it did a little. We'll soften that up a little bit. So they did a couple little copy changes. And then it decided to do the changes with the about pages and the contact pages and things. And so it modified those files, bringing in the CSS for those, and modify the razor pages. And then it built the stuff, and the build failed. It had 2 errors and 10 warnings because files were locked, because it was still running. So it realized that, so it actually went and stopped the app. Great, app stopped. And then it built it again. This time everything's great. And then started up again. Of course, everything's fine. Still the same port that's supposed to be running on. Navigated to the workshop again. Did another screenshot of the workshop and confirmed that it actually fixed it. Right, so now it's bolded and the buttons are side by side like it's supposed to do. So it did what it needed to do. And it went ahead and actually went to the about and took a screenshot of the about page as well. Saw that one looking like it should, and then it did the entire about page, right? So I can scroll down and see the entire about page as it was right then. But you'll notice what it sees here next is how this is like all the way to the left, versus the other pages it was kind of more, it was left aligned, but it was still, you know, had the left hand padding here, if you will. You know, it's more in the center of the screen. So it's going to see that in a second. But anyway, so it just kind of did the screenshot of the entire page. So it says that sits, so it's all that sat at a different, you know, left edge. So it did the visual comparisons, like, hey, what I want it to change is fine, but really it still seems off because it's all the way to the left instead of like the other pages. So it found that the real issue was there's no container. So it needed to add a container like the other pages, and so it went and modified the container. And the CSS, added those, fine, and then it stopped the app, and it built the app, and then it restarted the app, and navigated to services now. I took a screenshot of services, and we can actually see that it is aligned here with the gap appropriately. So it did that, then navigated to the contact us page, and looked at the card, saw that the get in touch is nice and, you know, capitalized, it matches, and stopped the app and actually said, hey, this is stuff that was went wrong, and this is what we fixed. So in general, it did not actually look at every single page, but it did enough to know where the mistakes were. And we can see this ended at 12:15, and the task itself started about 12:05. So it just took 10 minutes for this conversation to happen. This made me think to build a new skill into DevNitro, a cfixc command that will understand what is being asked, then run the app, check the live pages, and reports back with screenshots before applying fixes. Then it stops the app, applies the fix, restarts the app, and checks again. It'll be a one command way to verify the AI did what it said it did. Now, after I fixed the styling, I spent some time actually updating the copy of my website to match the new offers I created. And the result is the copy on Global Code of Technologies today changed quite a bit since this conversation 2 days ago. So go take a look, and if your team keeps shipping AI work nobody actually verified, this is exactly the gap the intelligent engineering sprint is built to close. I'm Chad Carter. I defined intelligent engineering, and I built DevNitro, the platform that runs it end to end. You already know what you're doing, so now go and build the software that your team can trust, support, and scale. And hey, if this helped, you know the drill. Plus, you may want to go ahead and share this with a developer that you like. And I'll see you in the next video.